Just a reminder, this is a review of a manga reader's perspective. I will try not to spoil, but there will be times it might slip up. So with the three main conflicts that built this relationship up, we now get to see how they handle through the growth of it. Meaning, even though Ichikawa has accepted his feelings towards Yamada, only took the boy 3 volumes to do that, which makes him better than most boys that takes about 8 to 15 volumes to do. He still conflicts with the acceptance that she may indeed like him back with the same feelings, or the fact that he doesn't see the world where it's plausible that them being together is considered acceptable. For he is an outsider, and she is beloved idol. Because what he tends to do is overthink every little aspect of his wording and actions, disgust himself. Because of that, he projects his disgust as hers, and constantly belittles himself and what he just did. When hearing any sort of demeaning word or phrase, he assumes it's about him. Whenever creating an imaginary scenario, he's always the villain, like, stop criticizing yourself. And although he'll ruin moments or have situations completely fly over his head, he still will try his hardest to find a way to get his feelings across, even if his biggest enemy is himself. Or more specifically, his self-doubt. Now with Yamada, she's finding better approaches to get her own points across and managing to be more successfully coerce Ichikawa into becoming a more open person with her, because she knows from small moments the type of boy he really is, and wants him to feel more confident showing that side to her. Like she stated in the first official date, she can tell when he's not actually turned off or angry about things, and she knows the type of person he is through the time they spent together. Even if she doesn't get the moments or answers she wants from him, it's not because he doesn't want to, it's simply because he has a hard time getting them across. So she puts up with it, knowing his walls are slowly crumbling away. Like texting every day, being more comfortable with touching, some long hand-holding scenes, and getting presents. The one funny addition is Ichikawa beginning to have conversations with his inner self, in the form of the manga Yamada gave him to read. It's almost as if after Ichikawa began to try to open himself up more, or at least stop making excuses of why he shouldn't like her, he made a subconscious in order to keep himself from falling off track. Weirdly enough, it's one of my favorite things of the series, because dude is just Ichikawa's heart unhinged. It's like all the times he's told himself about the parasites in his head, they finally manifested into a single being now. So the most annoying part of the final 3 is probably Ichikawa's self-esteem. Which is weird because when he analyzes it, he doesn't see it as impossible of Yamada liking him. Yet when they're in public, he just assumes that he isn't an acceptable boyfriend for her, or that she shouldn't or wouldn't want to spend so much time or effort with him. Even though that's exactly what she's doing, at least Senpai has the excuse of assuming Nagatoro is actually just teasing him in order to get a reaction, while Ichikawa constantly assumes the worst, yet allows the close moments to blow over his head. Like, no, someone who is repulsed by you, or even just wanting to be nice, would not want to hold your hand for that long in any environment. And the fact that most everyone around them are starting to assume that they're already an item considering their body language when they're around each other. They managed to make the older sister an enjoyable character in balancing her crush on Yamada while also supporting her brother, while managing to make Pickup Senpai even creepier, with the added scene of him making sure he was alone with Ichikawa to convince him to give Yamada's number away. It both showed how much resolve Ichikawa has about his own feelings, and not only as a crush, but as a friend towards Yamada, as well as how creepy Pickup Senpai is, willing just to go to score with her. One of my favorite scenes is the flashback to Ichikawa failing to get into the high school with his friends. It shows firstly that he wasn't always on the verge of becoming a sociopath, as we were first introduced to him, and the fact that his mom was with him to support added a touch of humanity to it. I got a soft spot when it comes to showing parents who truly support and care for their kids in scenes lately. Like, she knew there was nothing she could do, so she just did what she could to lift his spirits. In just a few frames, it feels like maybe he could have had a closer connection with her, as well as the fact that he had friends that were heartbroken when they were going to separate schools. Again, compared to the utter barricade he put up between himself and other schoolmates in high school. And his new relationship with his classmates turned his armor into walls, a reason to originally separate himself from the rest of the human species. I think they found the perfect way to end the season. It definitely feels like a change in the relationship when we get into Volume 5, so this is a nice spot of the bookend where we started to where we are. Ichikawa's murder books were his armor that kept him at ease when coming to school. Now Yamada has taken that spot. Although in the manga, it felt they did it better with Ichikawa being scared of sharing his interests in murders and mysteries, but wanting to show Yamada the real him, and that he became used to blaming others for not understanding him, turning his armor into walls, rather than putting himself out there for them to see. I really enjoyed this adaptation. There's some really beautiful moments, reminding me of Dress Up Darling or Clannad with its music and slow motion. The lighting of the series cannot be complimented enough. Some of those shots are just too beautiful for words. Even the casual shot outside like New Year's Day at the temple. And its title cards at the end of each given episode, giving it a secondary title describing a concluding emotion. Anytime you might have been worried that they left a scene out, it would be put in a different episode and spot within the next 2 episodes, so that was always nice. As far as series that I've been reading before watching, I put this in the middle, tied with Call of the Night, but just under Kami Can't Communicate, but just over Nagatoro Season 2. Anyways, I really enjoyed watching this series and looking forward to its second season. Hope you enjoyed these reviews, despite the lateness for most. Thank you for watching, and go read a book.